It's just a kid riding by on the bicycle. Stop. Stop. Oh, I can't tell if we're live yet or not. Wait a few seconds here. We're starting a little bit early tonight. Got some news we want to get across before Chris comes on and we give our uh, world situation report. There we go. I see the signal that we are officially on YouTube. I will play with the pig with you later, okay? When we're done, we'll play piggy. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. Um, just getting things started here. Want to wait for a couple of minutes to let some people get in if they are out on the YouTube streets and happen to see that we are on. We're on a little earlier than we normally are, and it's because we got some things we have to cover. Some things are amusing. Some things are really sad. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it because the first thing I've got here falls into both categories. It's both uh, weird, sad, and funny. Um, just when you probably thought you've seen everything, we've got something to share with you. And this is indeed real.
A message from the 45th President of the United Ponds of America.
Let's make fishing great again, okay?
He's here, everyone's favorite fish, Trumpy Trout.
No one has ever seen a fish like me.
Trumpy Trout is an animatronic talking fish with a big personality.
I am the hugely bigliest fish in the pond.
Watch his fins flap and his large mouth move as he makes speech after speech in high-fidelity sounds.
Some bass are bad fish, crazy fish, criminal fish, and druggy fish. But some bass are good fish, and I only love some of them.
Mount him to your wall or use the built-in stand to display him proudly on your desk. Now you'll never miss a Trumpy Trout rally.
I'm building a new pond, and the bass will pay for it.
Set him to motion activated to surprise his fans.
My fins are big. I have the biggest fins. No fish have fins like me.
Or turn him on and let his inspiring words delight the crowd.
All the fish love Trumpy. They just love me.
Catch Trumpy Trout for yourself or someone you love.
Oh, they can try, but they can't. They just can't.
Treat yourself to this limited edition Trumpy Trout for just $59.99. It comes with your official Make Fishing Great Again certificate of authenticity. Order right now and we'll instantly upgrade you to the deluxe version with desktop stand and Trumpy Trout jingle free.
He is the greatest trout without a doubt, the biggest fish.
And for even more fun, we'll give you a discount when you buy more than one.
We got the shoreline secure. No bass in this pond.
Supplies are limited, so don't miss your chance to hook the greatest fish of all time.
I am the greatest trout, and there is no doubt.
This is a limited edition collectible from Top Dog Direct. Order now at TrumpyTrout.com. That's TrumpyTrout.com.
If you have
Batteries not included. Yes, that is a real thing there. Obviously, that advertisement there, it's being ran on numerous right-wing channels. Trumpy Trout. Just when you think you've probably seen it all, along comes Trumpy Trout. You here? Let me get it queued up and say to everybody watching. I'll hop over into the chat here in a few minutes and Let me know what you think of Trumpy Trout. If you have seen it before, if this is your introduction to the latest in a long line of ludicrous, just absolute bizarro world stuff. Uh, Such a, it just, all of these things, it just uh, lessens the White House, and it's a tarnishment. It tarnishes the White House and the office of the president. And since that is the most powerful position in the world, maybe somebody that wants to tarnish it shouldn't be in office. Just, you know, just something to think about. All right, let's move on to the next bit of ludicrousness. I referred to this last night, but I didn't have the video queued up. JD Pants, JP Mandel. He goes by a lot of names, and I said last night that their people are just so unprofessional. Um, I ran for I ran for a federal office um, to serve the country and a congressional district multiple times actually, and I had really good people that knew what they were doing, even when they were volunteers. Um, and I know this guy's got to have a pretty expensive entourage. They're probably, getting paid somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 a week as political operatives. And whenever you do an event, uh, when you're trying to get a photo op, you're trying to create human interest. You're trying to make yourself look like the average person when you're anything but. Um, you do things like this, or they do things like this, where they'll stop someplace and do something seemingly normal. The problem is they just can't be normal. Um, the advance team did not check out the place as far as, is it okay if we film here? The it's from a political perspective, from a campaign perspective, this is just, I'll tell you how actual bad it is politically after we watch this.
The zoo has come to town. Thank you for letting us come in here. Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm sorry, man.
I don't want to be on film. Maybe you should have asked that before you came in and set up to do a. Uh, it's never impromptu because you got Secret Service, you got all the press, but anyway.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be on film, guys, so just cut her out of anything. Appreciate that, man. I'm JD Vance. I'm running for vice president. Good to see you. Okay.
I'm JD Vance. I'm running for vice president. Okay.
How long you work here?
I've been here since the beginning of July.
Okay.
For this year.
Okay, good. How about you?
I know whenever I go into a donut shop, first thing I ask is, how long you people been working here?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, good. Just everything, yeah. I mean, a lot of glazed here, some sprinkle stuff, some of these cinnamon rolls, just whatever makes sense.
Just whatever makes sense. You got some glazed here, you got some sprinkles, whatever makes sense. How bad was this?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? Okay. How long have you been here?
A little over 6 months.
Okay, good. The zoo.
All right. This was so bad that Mike Pence, who does not tweet, is not a known tweeter. Pardon me. Does have a Twitter or X account, and he tweeted that even he knew how to order donuts. So very awkward. Hard to believe. This is actually real as well. There's going to be a January 6th awards gala. January 6th awards gala. It's going to be Thursday, September the 5th. It's going to be at the Trump National Golf Club at Bedminster, beginning at 6 p.m. Um, they are going to be honoring all of the um, people in J6. 1,500 have been arrested so far. Somebody that used to pop in and out of the chat on occasion, a guy named David Valentine, Yellow Sizzler, I think was his name. Never had him on the show, but he would pop in and out of chat. He got arrested either yesterday or today for his actions on January 6th. And that guy had wire clippers and was over some truncated wiring outside the Capitol. So if they dig a little bit, he may get more than the average J6er. But it's they're going to have a plaque. They've got a plaque made, a January 6th #1 music chart plaque for the Justice for All, is what they call it. It is some prisoners singing the national anthem with Trump doing the Pledge of Allegiance over the top of it. So it's not the national anthem. It's a totally different thing, and they call it Justice for All. It came out on Apple, and all the MAGA people went and bought it when it came out, and it went to #1 for like a day. So they've had a chart made, or they've had a plaque made acknowledging this, and they're going to be giving it away to one lucky donor, is what I hear. Rudy Giuliani and Anthony Raimondi are going to be the featured guest speakers, along with former president, who is going to be again hosting it at his Bedminster Golf Club. If things weren't weird enough, here's J.D. Vance's haircut, and his hairdresser even hates him. Is the caption of this? Trump today going to? I'm sorry, that's yesterday. Trump ending up. We're going to end up not having a country. You're going to have you're going to have any media. You're not going to have any media. We don't have media. They don't have media. They don't own media. They don't need media. They do their own. Okay. As confusing as that was, me reading it, here is the guy that wants to be president. By the way, this wall right here is the border. So I think the focus is on the border as you're talking. Okay, I guess he's talking about me. They don't need traditional media. We've got doofus. Um, let me show you that clip, since I didn't do it. I just now realized. Hang on. So you can see for yourself. He is indeed at the border. And by the way, I guess I probably didn't show you JD Vance's haircut. There it is. And here is the J6 Awards Gala. Again, Thursday, September 5th, 6 p.m. at the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster. Attendees will get a chance to win the plaque. All right. There you go. And again, here's J.D. Vance's hair. Even his hairdresser hates him. Let's listen to Trump one more time here.
Fairly, this story. Because you people don't want to talk about the border. You don't want to talk about the bad things that are going on in our country. We're going to.
Okay, wait a minute. He was in North Carolina, and they had him in a bulletproof box. But he's 10 feet from the border, and doesn't even look like any Secret Service is anywhere close enough to react. Odd.
End up not having a country. You're not going to have any media. We don't have media. They don't have media. They do their own media. They don't need media. Fairly, the story.
Okay.
You people don't want to talk about the border. You don't want to talk about the bad things that are going on in our country. We're going to end up not having a country. You're not going to have any media. We don't have media.
I'll be here, Don. I promise. You'll have media. Okay. No worries. This is one of the producers of Celebrity Apprentice. Also worked with the former president on beauty pageants and things like that. And we're just going to give this a quick listen.
I told him the real deal about Trump that people didn't know. He was an open drug addict. Everyone knew it. None of this stuff was a secret. You know, that he was doing coke on shows 20 years ago when we do, you know, the VH1 Fashion Awards, and I used to do the beauty pageants with him in the 90s. You know, he was an open drug user, open sexual assaulter, and this stuff was just kind of accepted.
And it's not you heard this firsthand. It's you saw this with your own eyes.
Absolutely. That's when most of the drug use occurred on The Apprentice, when he had to read cue cards. He'd get really nervous, so he'd go in the bathroom, crush up Adderall. He'd come back to set. There'd be white chunks flying out of his nose, white powder under his nose. He's doing the same thing as a candidate and as a president. You know, it gives him a feeling of being in control. But he's clearly an addict. If you know anything about addiction, untreated addiction as a president is the worst thing you could have. So, yeah, he was obviously high that night. It was that was the same person we saw in The Apprentice, and I remember watching that and like, yep, he's high. And it was probably wasn't just Adderall. You know, he did coke, he did meth, he had drug dealers coming to the after parties selling it to him. Adderall is his maintenance high. It's what he does during the day. When he gets down to Mar-a-Lago and these other places, he gets into it a little harder. He also uses benzodiazepine, Valium and stuff to come down when he hits it hard. So when you see him slurring and stuff, that's from the benzos. And, the things I saw, he didn't even hide. So many other people saw this stuff. But imagine what the people are seeing right now in the White House. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We got him for an hour a day on The Apprentice, Celebrity Apprentice, because he barely works. That's the other thing. The guy is unmanageable. You know what I mean? He's not a functioning human being. He barely works. 9 times out of 10, we'd have to cancel that day's taping because he wouldn't show up at the last minute. So imagine the dysfunction and the insanity these people are witnessing at the White House, the GOP leader.
Okay, this came out. When he was in the White House, and nobody paid any attention to it. Came back out when he was threatening to run, and nobody paid any attention to it. All right, if you're just joining us, again, J.D. Vance, some sprinkles and stuff, and whatever makes sense. Our first little bit of non-news, a full breath break, if you will. This is a synchronized swimmer performing the same routine that the Australian breakdancer performed. Let's watch.
Just get on down and hit me. That body's getting so funky and hit me. Yeah, just hit me. Start to take beams about the seats. Make your body sway. Lead the way, shake it now. Go, ladies. It's a living dream. Love, life, live. Come play the game. Our world is free. Do it to one.
Pretty darn impressive. doing that underwater, doing it um, on the Olympic stage as an international breakdancer, not so much. Underwater, pretty darn impressive. One of the things we're going to be talking about, Chris, when he comes up here in just a few minutes, we'll be talking about the Middle East, and we're going to be talking about the assets in the Middle East. New article at CNN. If you're just joining us, Trump is going to be hosting a January 6th awards celebration on September 5th. And Trump is using his campaign to fund his lifestyle to a point where he's paying himself millions for appearances, use of his house and hotel. Turns out this has always been a fraud, is what this article is saying. And Trump has basically funneled $28 million worth of campaign money into his own businesses. So when you see that the January 6th thing is going to be at Bedminster Country Club, Trump's campaign will pay the country club to use the event, as use the location as a host for the event. They'll pay them for the food and beverages that are consumed, all of which eventually goes back to Trump. So this is unethical, if not illegal, and we get some more illegal questions coming up. Multiple Secret Service agents have been put on leave during an investigation in the Trump assassination that came out today. Okay, another little break here. This is a guy has adopted a police dog, and let's see if you can tell how you know.
All right, shopping list: bread, milk, pasta, eggs, mayo, cocaine. Just kidding. All right, shopping list: bread, milk, pasta, eggs, mayo, cocaine. Just kidding. All right, shopping list: bread, milk, pasta, eggs, mayo, cocaine. Just kidding.
The look on the dog's face. Don't think dogs aren't smart, and don't think they can't understand more words than we might want to believe. Secret Service never picked up radios set aside for them by local officers before Trump's July 13th rally. If they had, United States Secret Service may have heard warnings about a man on the roof before the shooting occurred, per the Butler County District Attorney. Again, we'll talk with Chris on that one. This is Pastor Joel Webbon. And I'm just gonna let you hear what he has to say. Hang on. Here we go.
When we moved to Texas, I needed to get a new cardiologist. And so my wife, she does a lot of this for me because before we had kids, she was an RN, and she knows a lot more than I do. And I let her read those books. She read some medical books. Yeah, and so she's doing the research and looking at
how nice it is of him to let his wife read books. I hadn't thought about that until just now, but
at these things, and she shows me two doctors, both of this within the same practice, same company, hospital, and saying, do you like one over the other? And one was a young white dude, and one was a young black dude. And I said, I prefer the young white dude, and this is why. The reason why is not because I'm white, but because we currently live in a historical moment in the West, and particularly in these United States, where I know that both of these guys could be perfectly qualified. But I also know that if there's a chance that one of them was not qualified and was given a free pass, it'd be the black guy. I know that young white guy, there's no way he got a free pass.
Oh my gosh. Don't even know what to say about that. Another little feel-good thing. This was sent to me. With a subject title, "How I Feel After the Democratic National Convention." Obviously, sent to me by a Democrat that improved greatly in the Democratic National Convention, just concluded last night, as you will see from this clip.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Fire, boy, make a big noise, playing in the tree, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, big niche great. Can get your head all over your place, singing way, rock you.
Good job, man.
Okay, Chris is coming up here in just a minute. Actually, let me go ahead and bring Chris up before we do this clip. Do this clip. Let me hop over here again. Hello, everybody in the chat. I haven't gotten to the chat yet. Actually, I got to open the chat, and let me drop this link in there. We'll get Chris up here with us, and kind of keep rolling along here. So let me go ahead. Let me jump back to this, and we'll bring Chris up after this plays. Okay. Elijah Schaefer attempts to explain why it's not bad to be a racist. And in fact, racism doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a better friend, a better husband, a better father, and a better person. Again, we don't tell you what to think or how to think. We just give you things to think about. Think about the fact that this is out there.
Racism isn't bad, okay? So it's not bad to be racist. Because racism is a discrimination factor, which we use all the time.
Yeah, and everyone all around the world, all races, is racist.
Yeah, and you should
the white
be,
people
though.
are the only ones that get criticized for it.
Like if you're black and you see a group of young black guys rolling up, dressed all hood, acting suspicious, you should make a stereotypical assumption that there's potential issues, and you should probably not hang out in that vicinity unless you are loaded with a gun and you're wanting a fight. I want to re-educate people into understanding that racism doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a better friend, a better husband, a better father, and it makes you a better person. And it doesn't mean that you don't like it doesn't mean that you're against, like some people are against miscegenation and race mixing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're against that stuff. It doesn't even mean that somehow you don't have friends. Like people are like, I'm not racist, I have black friends.
Yeah.
Be racist with black friends.
Exactly. I
Because
have tons of black friends. I think they respect the fact that I'm honest to them.
Correct.
All these liberals like during BLM, like washing their feet and shit, and they're surprised that the racist guy is the one that has all the black friends. They're like confused. It's like, yeah, because I treat them fucking like people. I call them out on bullshit. I don't censor myself around them.
Well, but that's also why it's like humane. It's like I'm carrying a gun, and so if I go around that group of black guys, I'm going to kill them. And so I'm actually, by being racist, saving black lives. Because
Oh, okay. Hey, Chris, what is going on? Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me, Barry?
Oh, man, you sound good. Sound
Good,
real
good.
good. Excellent connection. So, did you hear that last little clip?
I did.
And your thoughts?
There are no thoughts.
Okay.
Just people just being stupid again. That's all. And you can't fix stupid in today's society.
You know, my grandpa used to say, some people you just have to hit in the face with a coal shovel.
Yeah, right.
I always thought, you know, maybe that's pretty harsh, but I'm starting to think maybe he's right.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. I got a couple more things here, Chris, and then we'll get to the national and international. Federal court has granted the request for emergency hearing for the family of Isaac Hayes. Donald Trump, real Donald Trump, the RNC, Trump for President Incorporated 2024, Turning Point, and the National Rifle Association are all required to appear in court September 3rd, 2024 at the Atlanta Federal Courthouse. A $3 million fine is asked from each one of these organizations that not only used Isaac Hayes' music, but after being sent cease and desist orders, kept using Isaac Hayes' music. That's why this emergency hearing is underway, and tonight Trump is in Glendale, Arizona. He's using the Foo Fighters music, and the Foo Fighters are already making noise online about no, don't be doing this. He actually mentioned. Oh yeah, here we go. I mentioned this earlier. Bulletproof glass protecting him in North Carolina, but not when he's 10 feet from the big bad scary Mexican border. And by the way, he's holding up election results where he said it looks like I lost by just a tiny little bit. So I don't know if he's going to admit he lost here now 2 months before the election to try to not to appear to be an election denier, but it is again 2024. Bobby Kennedy decided to he decided to suspend his campaign. He did not end his campaign. There's a big difference. He suspended his campaign. He tried to take his name off the ballot in the swing states, and some of the swing states he can't get off the ballot. It's too late. He's not trying to get off the ballot in any non-swing state. So basically, it's all about he's trying to help Trump. He's endorsed Trump. He came out on stage with Trump at Glendale, Illinois, or Arizona earlier, and they might have violated some laws, which we'll get to in a minute. But this is what Bobby's sisters and brothers wrote. We want an America filled with hope and bound together by a shared vision of a brighter future, a future defined by individual freedom, economic promise, and national pride. We believe in Harrison Walls. Our brother Bobby's decision to endorse Trump today is a betrayal of the values that our father and our family hold most dear. It is a sad ending to a sad story. And again, that's Kathleen, Courtney, Carrie, Chris, and Rory. I do not know any of those. I met Caroline once. She actually ended up giving me a signed copy of her book. I gave her a signed copy of one of mine. I don't still have hers. Okay, this is going to be odd because Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Trump have said some awful nasty things about each other in the past, and in the recent past. I'm going to come back to that. Chris, I know that politics isn't your thing, but this is in politics. Optics matter, and this optic,
right,
with where the donut is placed. There's an SNL skit, Saturday Night Live, famous skit called "Dick in the Box." This guy's known, this guy's known for something that may not have happened, but he still hasn't come out and said he never had sex with a couch. And they put this image out with him holding Holes Sweet Shop right there. Okay. Again, Mike Pence. I won't be attending the J6 Awards because I'm feeling a little high strung and haven't felt like hanging out. Sorry for the bad news. Pence is somebody's writing Pence's tweets because Mike's not that funny, and he's had 3 days of solid tweeting.
Ghostwriter, huh?
Again, Donald about Kennedy. Kennedy saying some nasty stuff about Trump, and Trump's remarks from Nevada. I want to do the Putin thing with you, Chris. I want to do this with you as well. Let me just get up to the top here. Hang with me, folks. I'm obviously producing as we go. Okay, RFK and Trump could be breaking the law. And Bobby Kennedy, when he filed the paperwork to leave the race in Pennsylvania, stated in the paperwork, for some reason, he stated in the paperwork that he was leaving the race to endorse former President Trump. He said in his speech today that there was an arrangement and he also, just so everybody has a full concept of all of this. This comes from
My journey with my teeth
This comes from CBS Face the Nation. I'm not going to play.
started at a young age when I had teeth that would break.
I'm not going to play the video. RFK Jr. sought me with the Harris campaign about possible cabinet position, sources say. And so 2 weeks ago, he was trying. He knew he was going to drop out, and he was trying to finagle a deal with the Harris campaign, and they would not meet with him. The Trump campaign did meet with him. There's a leaked phone call that Bobby Jr. has Trump on speakerphone, so it's not like, it's not him. So there's some serious possible charges: bribery of a public official, interference by administrative employees of federal, state, or federal governments, Federal Election Campaign Act. Basically, you as a president or presidential candidate cannot offer anyone positions within your administration before an election and in exchange for something. And this was clearly a quid pro quo. He is resigning he is suspending his campaign. And again, that if you close your campaign, some states will take you off the ballot. So he's suspending it. And he says, under no circumstances will I join Donald Trump on an electoral ticket. So that probably means Trump had spoken to him some other time other than this leaked call we have about replacing J.D. Vance on the ticket. And if that has indeed happened, then they're both facing criminal charges. So this indicates that he's not going to be vice president, but he is going to have a position in the cabinet. And if this proves to be true, it'll be either just another thing Trump's got away with or another thing that is going to be punished. Chris, things may kick off this weekend in Louisville. A federal judge has thrown out the major felony charges against two former Louisville officers accused of falsifying a warrant that led police to Breonna Taylor's door before they fatally shot her. And the judge ruled that Breonna's boyfriend was the cause of the death. So here we are, almost 3 years later, and this is going to come back up. And you gotta, or at least I have to ask myself, is this all being done intentionally? Is this because this is a Republican state, despite their governor, is this being done to try to ignite things that should have been quelched? I don't know. Okay, the final night of the DNC drew 26 million people across 15 networks, 6 million more than 3 nights, and it peaked with Harris's speech at 28.9 million viewers. So people were interested in what she had to say. Um, Again, this is the CNN report about how Trump is lining his pockets with the dollars of his campaign donors.
Political groups also drop big money at Trump's businesses. The RNC spending more than $2 million since 2016. But at the top spot by far is Donald Trump himself, whose campaigns and associated political committees have funneled more than $28 million in political contributions to his businesses, from renting his ballroom to his campaign to using election donations to pay for his private jet, Trump Force One. Trump, the candidate, has been paying Trump, the businessman.
It's not.
Political groups also drop big money at Trump's businesses. The RNC spending more than.
Okay, it's not illegal, but sure seems awful unethical. And yeah. Okay, this is the reaction of one set of viewers, Chris, that watched Kamala Harris accept the nomination for President of the United States last night.
Survivors of crime.
No
to
way.
remind them, no one should be made to fight alone.
Dude, Kamala Harris will never be my president. Whoa!
Survivors of crime.
No way.
Chris, any comment? Any comment?
People are way too emotional. Like
Talk
men
about
are
that.
way too emotional.
Talk about that.
Like men are not supposed to be emotional. That's what women do. You know, fucking men are supposed to be, calm, cool, collected under all circumstances.
Stable.
You see, right? This right here is showing like you have a whole lot of feminine energy in you as a man. You see?
Okay, serious stuff now. Go ahead.
But seriously, this is what's going on in our country today. Men like women, like men are like acting like women. Like seriously, they're very feminine. You see, and that's like that right there is showing, like your feminine side. Men aren't supposed to act like that at all.
Well,
Okay.
I don't think anybody should really, grab a sledgehammer and go to it on their big screen TV. If a guy can afford a TV like that, instead of hammering on it, send it to me. I could put that up and it would fill my wall.
It just goes to show you how weak you really are. Because like it's a TV. You're gonna like what? Like how are you gonna change shit because you hit the television screen? Like that's just stupid.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people think like, haha, that's funny, that's hilarious. No, it's just showing you what an idiot you really are. And it's just like, like, dude, like get away from me. You're on loser status.
And see, and if you noticed in the clip, that's what all of his friends did. All of his friends immediately got away from him. All right.
Yeah,
Again,
because
this came. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're right.
All right. This came in 4 hours ago. 9 people stabbed at a festival of diversity in Germany, and I believe 4 out of the 9 that were stabbed have passed away, and they have no leads, no identification, no description, nothing about this person that stabbed 9 people. I guess and this kind of proves a couple of things. If somebody wants to kill a bunch of people, they're going to find a way to do it. Um, that doesn't, necessarily justify automatic weapons on the street or anything. But how could nobody be able to identify this guy? I mean,
Say that again, Barry. You broke up.
okay. How could no one, not anybody, nobody saw anything? There's no description, um, no idea which way he left, nothing. And I just find that hard to believe that there's, with all, I mean, you're at a festival and maybe because it was a knife instead of a gun, people didn't realize what was happening until people started going down to the ground, and the guy did it quick enough and was able to get away without notice. I'm assuming, but this is. I think we're going to see more of this kind of stuff, Chris.
Just more violence.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't get any better. It just gets worse. It really does. It's just going to get
Okay.
worse.
Now you and I've talked off camera um, that we both agree the focus is now going to shift back up to Eastern Europe and Ukraine and Russia.
Mhm.
NATO bases were put on their NATO
Yep.
bases are on high alert.
Yep.
Non-essential personnel have been sent home. Um, ha- what what are your thoughts on this push Ukraine is making into Russian territory? Um, Today, they seized one of the prisons, one of the Russian prisons, and started letting political prisoners out in exchange for them joining the Ukraine side to fight.
All
Um,
right. All right. So they're letting political. So we're like it's kind of it's force multiplier, right? And we saw this where in Haiti, in Afghanistan, right? The everyone. I hope everyone remembers the prison breaks that happened in Haiti, right? And a lot of those former gang members got out and joined, Cherizier, his coalition or whatever. Like it, do you see like it's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. Okay, this is just force multipliers. That's all it is. And this is what the Taliban used to do in Afghanistan. Used to break people out of prison or whatever, and they would become, join the Taliban. All right, so the Ukrainians let some of the criminals out so they could, join the Ukrainian armed forces or the fight. But it's still the same thing all the way around. Force
yeah,
multiplication. We
it
don't have.
just it just normally it like you said you mentioned you mentioned Haiti, you mentioned Afghanistan. Um, I think it happened during the Cuban Revolution as well. Um, but
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't happen to Russia, you know. Um, will will this be a big deal in Russia? Well, okay, let me
I
rephrase that because I know you're not a Russian expert. Um, could you see this as a potential trigger point for escalate?
mm, they could, right? They very well could, but I don't think they will. I mean, with all this stuff going on, and was that what Kurst?
The Kursk
Um,
region, yeah,
yeah, that's I think,
oblast.
yeah, that's where I think they're going to escalate, but I don't think it's going to be more manpower. I think it's more going to be maybe some more. They can't use like artillery and shit because they're probably at the nuclear facility. So they just might bring up more people, more troops to counter what Ukraine's doing. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. For
All right.
sure.
You mentioned the nuclear plant. There's a nuclear plant in the Kursk Oblast, and then there's the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, which is actually in Ukraine. It's in Russian-controlled Ukrainian territory. Um, both sides have said that they have information that there's going to be an attack on both of those nuclear facilities. Um, both sides blaming each other for something that hasn't happened yet is concerning to me. Um, and it's more concerning because I don't think Putin cares about his people. So, would he do something to one or both of those nuclear plants, regardless of the impact
Yeah.
to his people or to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Ukrainian people?
So the thing about it is you're never really gonna know who. If something happens, you're never gonna know who did it because they're each gonna blame the other.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, Putin might sit there and say, let me get all my people out of, Kursk or whatever. But what if Putin actually, were to do it and kill all the people and blame Ukraine for it, a bunch of nukes,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
or 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 guess what? Or guess what? Or just maybe Ukraine does it, right? And Putin wants his nukes regardless. So, I mean, like I said, the end state, I really think eventually, there's going to be some nuclear, something nuclear is going to happen here. I don't know where, like when, but it's going to happen sooner or later.
There's going to be some sort of nuclear activity going on from one side or the other.
Right, right.
Whether
And,
it's
and
whether it's
exactly.
it's whether it's a false flag, a black swan, like you said, Russia attacks its own power plant to blame Ukraine in order to justify launching nukes into Ukraine, um, or Ukraine uses a drone and hits the Kursk hits the Kursk plant, or uses a missile. Doesn't have to be a drone, but eh, we're gonna be really fortunate if we get out of that situation. We meaning the people of the world. If we get out of that situation without something nuclear
Yeah.
happening. All right, here we are in the Middle East, Chris, and these are just the assets that we know about as far as U.S. Navy. Um, the Abraham Carrier Group
Who's this?
has just come
Who's this?
in. The Roosevelt Carrier Group is right here. Um, the WASP Amphibious Ready Group with the Arleigh Burke class Georgia nuclear submarine. All of these ships, this amphibious group, these are all filled with United States Marines, and as is the
Right.
Roosevelt and the Bulkley, uh, all ready to go into Lebanon, Israel, wherever it may be. Um, what do you think? This is it's a massive show of force. It's 1/3 of our naval assets, all in this area in the Middle East. Um, just from what we see here, and knowing the uh, the type of aircraft that are on the Roosevelt and on the Lincoln, as well as the F-22s we've got in Qatar. We've got B-52 nuclear bombers in Israel. And these things don't even come into play. Just looking at what the Navy has put out here, this should be more than enough to make Iran say, we're not going to do anything, shouldn't it?
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. This, what we see on the screen as far as U.S. Navy assets, this ought to be enough to make Iran. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I got you. Okay. This ought to be enough to make Iran not want to do anything, shouldn't it? Just from what we're seeing here, this massive force deterrent.
They weren't going to do anything anyway, so it really didn't matter. You know, I told you. Well, when we talk about this stuff, it's kind of like boxing, right? Um, Maybe your people in the audience don't know that I used to box, but I correlate a lot of that stuff to boxing, where Israel is provoking um, Iran into a fight, right? But a lot of times in boxing, you get sucked in to someone else's fight instead of fighting your fight, right? So the whole thing about it is Iran or Israel is trying to, suck them in into fighting their fight when all Iran really has to do is fight their fight. Does that make sense? So if Iran is end state is to see the United States destabilized before they attack Israel, then they need to let that happen and let Israel do what they're going to do, so they don't get sucked into what Israel wants to happen to them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So
Yeah.
Iran's not fighting Israel's fight. Iran needs to fight Iran's fight and not Israel's. So that's why, I'm saying what I'm saying, and I correlate that to boxing because there'd be plenty of times where I'd be fighting, right, and somebody, would kind of like sucker me, into their fight, and sometimes I'd bite for it. I would actually bite,
Get
and
you to
and
drop your guard to go for a big punch when
or just fight their fight, and
right.
when the round's over, my coach would be like, my trainer would be like, hey, he's like, don't get sucked into what he's doing. You fight your fight. You let him fight his fight. You do you. You let them do them. You see.
Mhm.
So and that's how I make this correlation. It's kind of like the same thing. And even from a military standpoint, it's a provocation. So it's a provocation for Israel to attack Iran because Israel's end state is to nuke Iran. And if Iran were to strike Israel and kill civilians, Israel said, "All right, if that happens, then we're gonna like unleash on you." Okay, so guess what? If I'm shooting missiles, is there any guarantee that I'm not gonna hit any civilians? No. You see,
Yeah.
but Israel's seriously trying to um, provoke them, so
Yeah,
they would.
Israel's
So
been
that would
bombing the
happen.
crap. Israel's been bombing the crap out of southern Lebanon for the past 2 days.
Right, right,
And
right,
Syria. And the United
right,
States has also launched drone strikes in Syria.
right. So
So,
they're just trying to, all right, let's see
provoke.
what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just gotta sit back and wait. Okay, we'll wait for the United States to be destabilized, and once that happens, we'll crush you, and that's what they're gonna do.
Do you think
So
part of the destabilization plan is civil disturbances here in our country?
oh, of course. And remember, we talk about this whole right, and these Venezuelan gangs and all these people coming through the border. What Russia, China, Iran really control a lot of that. What's going on, especially through Venezuela, since they're down there with the oil, and they obviously want to get rid of the United States. And a lot of those gang members, Maduro was sending up here to the United States. Here, go to the United States, set up, and then on top of that, the gang leaders in Venezuela ordered those gangs here in the United States, those Venezuelan gangs in the United States, to start attacking the police.
Right.
And that's coming straight from Venezuela.
Right.
And to actually take guess who's behind that?
Maduro
China,
and Russia.
Iran, and Russia. Because they have to destabilize it.
Supposedly, oh, go ahead. You're cutting out. I thought you were done.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm finished now. Go ahead. All right.
Okay. All right. Supposedly Trump, or I'm sorry, not Trump, Biden was given a briefing in March, and there's a paper on it that United States should be prepared for a four prong war with
Yep.
Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea. And what
Yeah.
2 years ago we started talking about how the one way to defeat the greatest military in the world is to make them fight on multiple fronts and exhaust the resources and leave the homeland vulnerable.
Yeah. But yeah, we talked about that on 3 or 4 different fronts,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it just just now it's gonna come. Just don't know when. It might come sooner than later. Because if Kamala um gets the nod, it's gonna come. It really
They're
is.
going to test her.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We should expect that they are going to test her to see how she'll react. Um, let's get back to today. Today, Yemen blew up an oil tanker. A 150,000 ton of oil is spilling into um, the Arabian Sea. Um, if you want a clean environment, if you want to put global warming and climate change into check, war is the last thing you want. Um, I bring this up because while we look at this screen and we see all this naval power, we have to also acknowledge they're all targets as well, correct?
That's correct.
And are these assets? Is this our way of poking the Iranian tiger or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't change. You see, Barry, it doesn't change. It's all provocation for us to go to war with Iran. So it is that's the end state anyway. I think everyone understands that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, yeah. Um, do do you okay? I think both of us would be surprised if something nuclear didn't happen in Eastern Europe. I think we both stated that. How do you feel about the Middle East? With
Middle
with
East.
yeah, with we know Iran probably has 8 to 10 nuclear warheads, is what intelligence is saying. And
Oh yeah. I'm sure they definitely have them.
and we know
They
Israel
definitely
has
have them.
them. We know Israel has them. We don't know how many.
Yeah.
Um, will we be able to
Right.
get? Will we, being the people of the world, be able to get out of this situation in the Middle East without nukes?
I hope so. I mean, you really don't know what's gonna. I mean, they eventually they're gonna strike Israel, and I think um on the last show we talked about a nuclear exchange.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's gonna happen between Iran and Israel. I really think that's gonna happen.
And that will be
And
after.
then if
That'll
that
be
happens, then of
after.
course the United States is gonna get into it.
Okay. Do you think that's going to be before the United States kind of self destructs? If we do, hopefully we don't. But let's say we don't. Let's say the United States survives this election cycle, and Kamala Harris is president January 21st, and we would both, I think both you and I would expect someone to test her within the first few weeks of her administration. Um, would that be a sign that the United States is not going to fall and Iran should go ahead and act if they want to act?
I couldn't hear you, Barry. Could you say that again?
Yeah. If if we get through this election cycle and there is it's such a landslide that there cannot be any question about the winner, and if Kamala Harris is um, inaugurated January 21st of 2025, I think both of us would anticipate someone trying her in the first couple of weeks. um,
Easily, all day,
Okay.
all
Would
day.
would that be would that be a time where Iran says, okay, maybe the United States isn't going to fall. If we're going to strike, we're going to have to strike now. Could you see something like that possibly playing out?
Possibly, yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
But like I said, I really think that they want to see the 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 United States start to crumble. You know, and like I said, if they play it right, it's going to happen. It's really going to happen. Um,
There's going to be outside
and
interference,
I'm
and
kind of concerned about that.
I am too. I really am. And it's all going to center around the election, I
But
think.
yeah. So like I said, it's what? Well, how many more days before the election?
74.
Okay, that's a short time.
That is a very short time. A very
So
short time.
that's not even 3 months.
Yeah.
So with that, you, you better be careful. You know, because a lot of stuff can happen in between now and election time, right? Because somebody said there probably won't be elections here for 2024. I keep hearing that too.
I've heard that too. I've heard that too.
So
Um,
so so if there are no elections, what do you think that's going to do here in the United States? People are going to start losing their minds. Wait,
it'd be
you can't do
chaos.
that. Yeah, right,
It'll be chaos, and
right, right. And that's what they want. They
that's
want
what some
that to
people
form,
want. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I'm gonna hop over here to the chat real quick. Say hey to Butterflies Are Free. Um, Shalom True. Davis Ward. Good to see you in here. Um, uh, GMJ's health is not good. Grandmaster J's health's not good. True, let me know about that, man. Um, that's I had not heard anything about GMJ. Um, where are the men to stand up to police like he did to the TV? That Bree stuff is unbelievable. So sad. Um, the coward beating the TV. Um, yeah, this. Let me go back to that real quick here before. Let me go back to that real quick here before we get off. Um, just so I really, I'm hoping. Um, I'm hoping that the legal minds in the legal people in Louisville are on top of all of this, and that it's not going to have to come back to the people to um, the bring about change. But it seems like it always comes to that. Um, and what I'm talking about is, and somebody let Summer know in case she doesn't. I'm sure she's probably already aware, but um, federal judge has thrown out the major felony charges against the two former Louisville police officers accused of falsifying a warrant that led police to Breonna Taylor's door before they fatally shot her. The judge has ruled that Breonna Taylor's boyfriend caused her death and throws out all of the major charges. So somebody let Summer know that. I'm sure Summer and her people know that, but just in case they don't, somebody make sure and let them know. Um, Chris, thank you for being here as always, man.
And thank you for
Are you
having me
still
on the
there?
show. Like I said, every weekend, Barry.
All right.
Yep. I said, thank you very much for having me on your show, man. It's greatly appreciated.
Oh, I greatly appreciate having you. And the weekend is here. Things are going to get crazier as we get towards the election. So everybody needs to always have their heads on a swivel. Um, Situational awareness, all the safety stuff that we talk about.
For sure. For sure.
All right, man. You hear anything, get a hold of me. I'll do the same.
Likewise. All right, Barry. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Peace, brother. We'll see you. That's our friend Chris. And
I know.
he'll be back with us on next Friday night, if not before. Hopefully not before, because if he's on, that generally means uh, things are getting tense somewhere in the world. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Much love to you all. Thank you. Seriously, much love to all of you. Greatly appreciate you being on here. I shouldn't have moved. My camera's movement sensitive. I greatly appreciate all of you being here. Blessings upon all of you that wish them. Mercy upon the United States of America and this concept of democracy and her people that just want to move our country forward. Thank you all. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share, and if you can, hit the Cash App, $ American Doofus, all one word, AMERICANDUFUS with the $ in front of it, and it will be greatly appreciated. Not necessary, but always welcome. And with that, I will say,